So some people have been asking me how I get so much done. I thought I'd map out all of my various projects and help anybody who's interested to see what the connections between those projects are and how I'm able to move all of them forward concurrently, all in a normal 80-hour work week. So, the top project is my mission. And if I were to summarize my mission, what I would say is to bring about global, cultural, and personal integration. This is my primary mission and goal in life. Everything that I do, all of the projects I'm involved in, are centered around this bigger picture mission. So I don't know if you've ever seen this logo anywhere on my work. That is the overarching top level view of what I do. And so within this we have a few different projects. We have Shine On Cleans, which itself is an initial beta test version of what will become Shine On Services. So at the moment we're building a cleaning company in the city of Norwich where I live. We're in year 2 and we're still pretty small, but we've spent the time on designing an apparatus that we believe is scalable quickly. So not only do we want to break through in the Norwich marketplace, we want everyone in Norwich to know the name Shine On Cleans and to trust them with their cleaning, but we'd also like to expand into laundromats, into dog grooming, into all kinds of other different industries under the same Shine On brand. Because what Shine On does that's special is that we are AI driven but people focused, which is a shortened way of saying that what we do is we leverage AI and technology as much as we can in our office, keeping our administrative costs as low as possible, automating as much as possible, which means that we can pass on more of what customers pay us to the cleaners, which means that we can support our goal of being the best paying company in town. We want to attract the best cleaners in town and we want to be the best company in town. So this is how we're doing it. We're using AI, we're using automated systems like Zapier, connections between different software. So that's one project, Shine On Clean. So that's my local project. It's quite fun, I'm enjoying it a lot, and my co-founder in this operation is really, really smart and really, really driven. And so between the two of us, we have very high confidence in the success of Shine On Cleans at the least. But we also can see a much more expansive vision where even if just in Norwich, the Shine On brand would be trusted with local services ranging from hairdressing to plumbing to gardening to cleaning. This one is probably my most capitalistic project. Then we have Sahara Simulations. Within Sahara Simulations, we have the game of authenticity. Later down the line, I will be thinking of adding the game of power, the game of sex, the game of relationships, the game of business. But basically what Sahara Simulations is it's a alternate reality video game developer. What I'm doing with this game of authenticity is I'm taking the last 15 years of my experience in promoting authenticity in business and in personal relationships via a number of different previous projects, including coaching, including retreats, working one-to-one with people from all around the world to help them integrate parts of their personality into a more authentic and aligned whole. That is my background, that is where my mastery exists, and so what I'm doing here is rather than promoting myself as a guru or building a particularly niche personal brand around what kind of coaching work I do, instead what I wanted to do was turn it into a video game, because I love video games and I've learned more from video games than I've learned from courses that I've paid lots of money for. And the reason is that because it's fun, I'm able to play with different game mechanics. So I learn about strategy in chess, I learn about planning in Minecraft, I learn about resource management, and I learn about automation in Satisfactory. The game of authenticity is an alternate reality game, which means that there is digital elements to it, some of which will be virtual reality, augmented reality, some of it will just be watching a video on your phone or engaging with a chatbot. But the reality part of it is that you'll be completing challenges in the real world. So the game, in its digital form, will tell a story, introduce you to some characters, and then set you a challenge. And that challenge involves doing something in the real world with your real body. So that fusion, that blend of reality and alternate reality, I think is a very powerful way to deliver self-help work, such as helping people become more authentic, because there's no guru that they have to become like. There's just characters in a video game that they can learn from and talk to. It's a way of removing the ego out of the self-help world, and I'm very excited about it. I should be launching that sometime over the next 3 months. Next, we have Time Not Here, which is my novel, and there is an upcoming sequel that I will start writing within the next 2 years called Time to Fly. So Time Not Here is the story of a young man who finds out that the closest relationship in his life is actually a toxic relationship with a psychopathic individual. This comes as such a great shock that the main character has his reality unravel around him. He has to reevaluate all of his beliefs and perspectives on the world, and in the process he finds his way to an African plant medicine which takes him on a journey into his soul and helps him resolve A, how was he so foolish to be captured by a psychopath, and B, how does he make sure it never happens again? I think it's a powerful read, it's a powerful theme, discussing the intimate relationships that we may have with people who we find out are psychopaths. I'm very excited about this. This is available on Amazon already. I'm in the process of doing a professional edit, but the version that's up on Amazon I'm happy with. Please do give it a read if you're interested in that theme. And the sequel, Time to Fly, will involve exploring the theme of basically like a Breaking Bad story for a cult leader. So exploring the idea that this guy starts a little meditation club and that grows and gathers more followers, and I'm very interested in that journey of how do they become the evil cult leader. Like, are they evil from the start? Probably not. It's probably a Walter White type story where someone who was just a flawed human being makes a series of bad decisions that steadily get worse and worse and worse, and before you know it, everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid. So I'm very interested in that concept. As you can imagine from the whole game of authenticity idea, I am really averse to the idea that I should ever be any kind of guru for anybody to follow. And so everything that I've learned, I'm trying to encode into these different projects so that I don't have to be the guy who's up on stage saying, hey, you gotta be like me, let's go, you know? I feel like that's such a slippery slope down to the world of, and now we have to ascend to the higher masters, and in order to do that, let go of our physical forms. And this is where I'm gonna explore how a normal everyday person makes a series of decisions that all of us would probably make in their shoes, and before you know it, they become the evil cult leader. So stay tuned, follow my work if you would be interested in that book when that comes out. Okay, next, the connection experience. This is the project where I get to continue being a coach on a small level to the clients that really value the work that I do with them. So the connection experience is a network that I've built up over the last few years of working in international retreat centers, meeting coaches from all sorts of different backgrounds, and in each location pinpointing one or two individual projects who I want to become part of the connection experience. Now, this is a network of retreat centers and coaches that focuses on bringing about some of the goals of global cultural integration. Whether their retreat center is focused on peace, or whether it's on health, or whether it's on marriage, or whatever the unique theme that that individual location has brought to the table, we want them to have it empowered within itself and part of a network of similar experiences that trade with each other and give each other recommendations and referrals to all the clients who are going between us. So for example, if someone comes to the connection that I set up, I might do authenticity work with them, and then I might give them a business card to a center in Colombia along with a little pot of some kind of Colombian face cream or something, you know, some kind of product that connects them a little bit to this other culture, to this other country. And within that, my own contribution to it is the Madeira connection. Because Madeira is the place where my family and I are going to move and emigrate to in order to raise our children in what is a complete paradise, let's be honest. It's not for everybody, and it's small island living, but for us, it feels like the dream location. And so we are using Madeira as a place for our family to settle, and also for us to build our own retreat center focused around authenticity and also around motherhood, which my wife Nirvana will be driving forward that as a key focus. Imagine mothers from all around the world coming to a understanding, a meeting together where they share their stories of what it's like to go through these different experiences from in whichever country they're from. It's magical, magical stuff. And so we'll be building the Madeira connection, and I want to have a connection in every country in the world. Building that network, we've currently got about 3 or 4 that are kind of signed up in a sense, handshake sign up in a sense, but I want to make it real. I want to scale it, make it a bigger thing. And then the next major project is the Integration Fund. And within the Integration Fund are integration stations. Now, in a sense, the Madeira connection is going to be an integration station of the Integration Fund's work. Hopefully you're still following how things are starting to fit together. But the difference between an integration station and a connection is that the connection is going to be very much focused on individuals looking for transformation within themselves. And it's not going to have a particular focus other than building the connections between our peoples. While the integration stations are more proactive about integrating people into local communities and also integrating that local community into the global cultural marketplace. That's what these stations are for. And so these are a combination of business interests, of political interests. These integration stations are going to form effectively an ambassador, an embassy in every city around the world. This is my dream. I would quite like to have an integration station in every city and town in the world over the next 5 years. And they're not going to be that difficult to set up. We just need the funding for it, which is why I'm starting the process of fundraising at quite high levels, including looking for hundreds of millions, if not billions of investments at once, to get the project moving quick enough to make a big enough difference. My most ludicrous dream, because I want to raise $1 trillion for this over the next year. That's my best case scenario. At the bare minimum, over the next 3 to 5 years, that's my goal, is to raise $1 trillion and invest that $1 trillion in integration stations in every single town and city around the world, with the express purpose of connecting with the connection experience, connecting with local business interests like my cleaning business in Norwich. Imagine my cleaning business in Norwich having a connection to someone in Tanzania starting a cleaning business using our model and maybe even using our brand if we can come to a good deal. Those sorts of deals get set up on a national level by using embassies. Why not have that in every city? So they need to be democratic institutions. Communities need to vote on which integrations we're going to do next. These integration stations are going to be so important. So I'm starting to build one in Norwich with my cleaning business and with the connections that I'm making in my city. I'm also doing it by continuing to develop the relationships that I have with people like me in other countries and other cities, working on changing their community, working on building a better world, getting them bought in to create their own connection point, and then to help us build an integration station in their area and help invest and get started quite exciting businesses that serve a small local community but that uses internationally powerful modern tech like AI. Imagine, people, imagine the world in 5 years' time when we've accomplished this. Instead of wasting so much of our money on issues that haven't been fixed for the last 40 years despite all the money that's been poured into them. Let's just say this amount. Boom, let's just do it. Let's get this project done and let's finally stop fighting about our different cultural backgrounds and feeling like it's a threat. Let's just start shaking hands and doing deals, maintaining our own respective heritage while integrating the best of me with the best of you. That's what the Integration Fund is for. Now, there's a couple of other interesting connections because over here, can we see it? Yeah. My final major project is called Kimba. Let's bring this over here more. Now, if you're still following me, Kimba is what I call the discipline of authenticity. It is the process that I teach in my individual one-to-one coaching sessions, as well as when I host retreats as part of the Madeira Connection one day, but wherever I happen to be hosting a retreat, either as a guest or as a host in my own country. Kimba is the process that I teach at retreats. It is a physical process that you may have seen in other videos of mine that get a little bit weird when I'm doing stretches and moving in ways that kind of don't make sense. Kimba is the name behind what that stuff is. It is a day-to-day commitment to your most authentic self. I am quite an advanced practitioner of the process, so in any given day as I'm going about my day, I'm noticing any ego and tensions as they arise in my body, and I'm quickly working them out. So if you're working in the same room as me, you'll find me sort of doing strange stretches or rapid breathing just to charge up my body and loosen myself up before something important. Because I've noticed that some part of me's gotten cold, tingly, sensitive, fearful, anxious, these sorts of things. So this process has a step-by-step process to follow. It is quite easy to learn, but it is quite difficult to master. And so I invite my network as I connect with them on all different projects. I always offer an invitation, hey, I also teach this stuff, which means that you can have more of the kind of life that you want. And this Kimba work leads on to your Chief Support Officer work, my part-time job that I find incredibly fulfilling. And so once I teach you the Kimba process, you don't really need me as your coach anymore, which is good because you'll be coaching yourself by running the Kimba process. But you will need support. You will need support, and so all of my Kimba packages come with a certain amount of unlimited support. I'm your Chief Support Officer in the sense that I'm the authority, so if I'm supporting you more than you are, then I should win that fight. I'm an officer, so I'm militaristic in it. I'm not going to take any dissent. I'm not going to accept any bullshit. Like, if you hire me as your Chief Support Officer, I'm going to give you commands that I expect you to follow when it comes to the thing that I have the chief level authority in, support. So that job I do part-time for anyone who needs it. I also offer it to companies, so building in a structure of authenticity and support into their business organization from the top down. That is also a service that I offer. Now Kimba, funnily enough, for anyone who has read my novel Time Not Here, I mentioned earlier on that in the story the main character uses a African plant medicine. And in the story, I create a fictional country. And apologies, Africans, I know that it's not cool to do that, but I just invented a country in Africa called Kimbala, and I created the name Kimbalese, and Kimba is the name of the plant medicine that the Kimbalese people use to have rites of passage as young people, confront death and discover who they really are. And I came up with the name Kimba when I wrote the book, and then when it came time to naming this process that I told you about, this physical process, I thought to myself, wait a minute, Kimba's actually a really good name for that. Kimba's a good name because it stands for kinesthetic, internal, memory, balancing, action, which is exactly what the process is. So it's funny that there is a connection between this book and a fictional plant medicine called Kimba and a non-fictional, no medicine required process that I use to become more real as a human being. Its name is Kimba, and that name makes sense. And Kimba, I also gave it the name the discipline of authenticity. The discipline of authenticity is taught in the game of authenticity. So as players play the game of authenticity, they will be taught this Kimba process. This is me being the Chief Support Officer for them through Sahara simulations, and as they play the game of authenticity, they learn Kimba, and they receive my level of support for all of their journey. It's a pretty powerful customer experience because it's integrated up and down and left and right, and it just gives them, from every possible angle, it gives me an opportunity to put something in front of them that they go, whoa. And obviously Kimba is what I teach in my connection. And also, Kimba is a big part of how integration stations work. Because if you've got two different cultures, running the Kimba process on yourself and the other person running it on themselves means that the two of you can integrate. So that connects to that. So there we go. There's my mission. There's my vision. This is the simplified form of showing you what it is that I work on every week. If any of those projects appeal to you, if you want to be involved, if you want to come work with me on any of those projects, please reach out, please send me a direct message, please email me. I would love to hear from you, I would love to meet you. And if none of the projects resonate, but you at least respect the fact that I am not being a cog in somebody else's machine. I have designed my own goddamn machine, and it has taken me years to do, and each version of these things, like there was a chickpea homemade hummus business a few years back that was the same thing that Shine On Cleans is now, just at a smaller level that didn't really have legs and didn't really take off. This is a very expansive, very confusing kind of life purpose to have, but it's mine and I didn't create it. It just was given to me. I had no choice in the matter. It was just a question of, do I do this or do I do something else? And when I chose to do something else, sometimes I got paid a little bit more in the short term, and so it made life a little bit more comfortable, but it just felt, what am I doing, you know? And if I don't do that, and instead just do this, then I have the best time of my life. I work 80 hours a week and I enjoy every single second of it. I get to have a complete bed day whenever I want, where I just lay in bed in my pajamas playing video games. And then a day later, I'll work until 4 a.m. I share all this because I think everyone deserves to have that life too. And I think if more people were pursuing that life as a goal, i.e. the goal is, I have a personal mission that I'm on, and every single project that I put my time into is integrally linked to that mission. And I'm not going to waste my time on any other side projects that don't contribute value to my actual, real, authentic dreams. I think a lot more people would have a lot more fun. As I continue to develop and launch all of this, I will hopefully play an important part in holding a safe space for people to think big about why it is that God put you here. What the hell are you here to do beyond TV and paychecks? And even if all it is to be a rock of support for somebody. If you don't know what that mission is, then you don't really know how everything you do serves that mission. So you can feel like you end up doing a lot of things that don't really serve a purpose. And if you come work for us as a cleaner and shine on cleans, or set up your own connection experience in your community, or read one of my novels, or play the game of authenticity, or come to a Kimba retreat. If you do any of these things, then it will help you to integrate your personal issues, your familial issues, your cultural issues. And once you've ironed out those issues, then you can have fun doing deals with each other and building really incredible testaments to the pure majesty and power of the one true God that we all serve. So that's my mission, guys. What are you working on? Something bigger, I hope. Much love. Take care of yourself, take care of your family, and I will see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.